So let us commence. Get to your position. Right from word go. Try to know the act that is going to follow shortly. And for that act, since it should not be a mechanical ritual, you will be addressing the whole body, mind, and breath, but primarily highlight what are you going to do for the mind, what should be done for the mind, how the mind should participate, involve, be activated, be addressing and addressed and used and applied, etc. Try to highlight the mind, the role of the mind in what is going to follow, what you call as prayers. Let it not be mechanical ritual. Let's have a study approach. So settle down, right from word go. Try to monitor, have hawk's eyes on role of the mind. There are several layers of the mind. Psychological, mental mind, you are all aware of it. Anatomical mind, skeletal-muscular mind, physical mind, corporeal mind. Sensory mind, breath by breath, as you evolve the conditions. Highlight the role, participation, addressing and addressal of the mind, usage of the mind, usages for the mind. So mind as benefactor, beneficiary, and benefit. Agency as well. Try to read the mind and go for protocol aspects, breath by breath and by the breath. Watch the mind in the brain and brawn. It has myriad functions: cognitive, cognitive, sensitive, perceptive, pensive, reflective, normal faculty functions, higher faculty functions, as benefactor, as beneficiary, as agency. The hawk's eyes on the mind constantly monitored. So go for protocol aspects, profound exhalations, exhaling further and further and further in various confinements for various purposes to handle the embodiment. So for the act of what you call as prayers or invocations, the body has to have not only position, condition, but state and culture. What is the role of the mind for compatible condition in a position of the body, condition of the body? The mind in the breath and for the breath, mind in the body and for the body, mind in the mind and for the mind. Now silently uttering Om, find out how the role of the mind changes. as benefactor, beneficiary, and benefit. Understand that the word benefit here, it's not the literal meaning benefit I am suggesting. योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचाम् मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनाम् पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि आबाहुपुरुषाकारम् शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणम् सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतम् प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम् हरिः ओम्। Bow your head down to the heart and surrender there with exhalation. Drop the palms and open the eyes. Let me try to explain out the technical meaning of the word benefit. Because I specifically said I am not using in the sense it is understood literally, lexicographically. You all know the meaning of benefit. But I am putting in that tripartite constitution of benefactor, beneficiary, benefit. So it has a different meaning. It's an agency. It is not benefit in the literal sense. What do you get, what the body gets, what the breath gets, what the mind gets. And we think those are benefits. That's in literal sense. But if there is a benefactor and beneficiary, there has to be a benefit. And understand, in human world of the psychological realm, it's a tricky term. I might be wanting to give you a particular benefit by what you do, but what I do. What I do for you, I want to give some benefit to you. But you may not be taking that benefit, but you might be getting some other benefit. You might be taking some other benefit. It is possible. Maybe I want to give you wisdom and you are trying to get your wellness and well-being. My intention is to give you wisdom. My intention is to give you some knowledge about yoga, and you are trying to derive benefits by way of physical benefits to mental, psychological benefits, wellness and well-being to mind and body. That is not what I am trying to give, but you are taking it, you are getting it. So there is a medium. If I want to give you a particular benefit, and if the same benefit has to be reaching you, the carrier must be proper. And that's why it is an agency. When I use the word benefit, it's an agency, it's a carrier. I want to give you a benefit, and I have to see that you get the a benefit, which depends upon the carrier and agency. But I am trying to give you benefit A, and you are trying to derive benefit B or C, which is not my intent and intention. That means something has gone wrong with the agency, the carrier. So benefactor, beneficiary, benefit. These three terms have to be understood in perspective here. So that I wanted to clarify. Otherwise, you are taking for granted that you know the word benefit, you know the meaning benefit. What do I get? What do I get? What I'm trying to give you and what you are trying to get, there might be a difference. There might be disparity. And therefore, understand these terms here when you are doing benefactor, beneficiary, benefit, because it is not a bilateral word. It is not two-dimensional word. If there is a benefactor and if there is a beneficiary, there must be a benefit. You cannot have somebody as a benefactor, somebody as beneficiary with no benefit at all in between. So as I've sometimes told you, there are certain words with, mono meaning or two-dimensional, three-dimensional, four-dimensional, multi-dimensional. Like man is only a man, but husband means he has a wife. Man is monoscopic word, but father means there must be wife and there must be children. So there are the three aspects. When we say that this is a father, when I say this is a man, is only a man, may not be having woman as a counterpart. But when I say he is husband, there is a counterpart. When I say he is a father, that means there should be also a child. So the words are like that. So some have uniperspective words, biperspective words, tri-perspective words, etc. So benefactor, benefit means there is a benefactor and beneficiary. Benefactor means there is a benefit and beneficiary. Beneficiary means there is benefactor and benefit. So it is three-dimensional word. And we try to overlook that mid-dimension, or one of the dimensions are overlooked. We are overwhelmed by, when you are beneficiary, you are overwhelmed by you being beneficiary and other things are not equally weighed. In yoga, we have to equally weigh them. Benefactor, beneficiary, benefit. So when the word benefit is for the agency, which is the carrier. So sometimes the mind is benefactor, sometimes that means the mind is giving, sometimes the mind is beneficiary, that means the mind is getting, taking, receiving. But we fail to identify the third aspect, the benefit. It is not what benefit. The benefit should be what the benefactor wants to disseminate, not any benefit. As I gave the example just now, I am trying to give you something, but you get something else out of what I do. That is not my intent. That's not my intention that you should be taking this benefit, but you get that benefit. And in human world, it happens a lot. We, by nature, are scamsters and we commit scams here and there and wherever possible. That is why you come across conditions that you are exploited, you are used, and you don't like being used, but you say, I am being used. And there is a bad taste when you say, I am being used or I am being exploited, etc., etc. So with respect to mind, we have to carry out study. Mind as benefactor, mind as beneficiary, mind as benefit. If the mind is benefactor, where are the benefits going? What are the benefits going? If the mind is beneficiary, from where the benefit is coming? Is it acceptable, justifiable? See, as a good citizen, if your bank account is credited by hook or crook, if you are a good citizen, you must report it and go back to the bankers and ask them from where this money has come. Has it come from proper source? If it has not come, you have to reject it. You have to say, no, I don't want to face any problem later. Just because your account is created, you can't be happy. You should have a scrutiny there as a good citizen. Otherwise, you don't bother. Let the account is created. It's not my fault. Let me use it. But the problem will come later. If the wrong credit is given to you, the bank will send a notice that it was wrongly credited and you have already spent. So, if the benefactor is giving benefits, benefactor should take care to see that the benefit that is intended reaches the beneficiary. If the mind is beneficiary, they should see that whatever is intended, whatever is the benefit to be received from body system or breath system has been received properly. And there is no hawala. Indians should be knowing this. Hawala transactions. So it should come from right source, it should come in right way. Okay. So let's try to study the mind. Now you'll be going for your starter pose. You can go by your predilection, full arm balance, elbow balance, ropes, whatever starter pose you want to do it. Supine positions, sitting positions, standing positions, Utthita Hasta, etc., Adhumukha Tadasana, etc. So by your predilection, you can go for starter pose. So pick up such a starter pose which is going to prepare you more profoundly. Don't take any asana. You can't get prepared in any asana. There are certain starter asanas. I want you to carry out that formal study of it, which are resourceful starter asanas. Full arm balance, elbow balance, wall rope, Tadasana, Adhumukha Svanasana, Parsha Swastikasana. Supine means not necessarily only Suptavirasana and Baddhakonasana, etc. Many of you have that idea. Supine means what? Supta Baddhakonasana, Suptavirasana, Purvottanasana. You can also go for Pavanamuktasana. So find out what is proper for you. Maybe Pavanamuktasana is good for you to be doing at this point in time. You can do it. So do not just pick and choose. Little rationally try to understand. And you can combine 2-3 asanas as starter pose. I am not saying only stick to one. Because you know there are the group of asanas are there for you to get better prepared. But primarily try to highlight the mind. Role of the mind, act of the mind, function of the mind, process of the mind, purpose of the mind. So suppose you are going to exercise your body, what is the role of the mind and what should be the role of the mind? If you are going for sitting options, what is the mind doing? What the mind should be doing? What the mind can be doing? So try to know what the mind does and what mind should do, what the mind does and what the mind can do, what the mind can do and what the mind should do, ideally, justifiably. So if you need repetitions, you can do repetitions. If you need change of sites, you can do change of sites. But try to highlight. It is all body, mind, breath combination participating. As you are going for preparatory, they are all to be, you have to signal alert to all of them. You have to solicit participation from all of them. You have to solicit activity from all of them. Yes, that will be in place. I am not changing the preparatory, but I am asking to highlight this particular aspect. What is the role of the mind, participation of the mind, contribution of the mind, purpose of the mind, act of the mind, what kind of acts the mind is carrying out, Mind can carry out cognitive act, mnemonic act. Mnemonic is memory. You have memory baggage. You are not a raw beginner saying that you don't have any memory. You are a first timer. That's not the case. Then there is mind of the body system, mind of the breath system, mind of the mind system. So try to figure out what is the mind of the body system, taking, giving, receiving, dispensing. What is the mind as a benefactor in body system? When I say body system, you have surface anatomical mind, surface anatomy. You should know what is surface anatomy. Surface anatomical mind, skeletal-muscular mind, anatomical mind, physiological mind, cellular mind. The mind is everywhere. So try to know the functions, and you can use the group of asanas which work well for you to get better prepared. I'm not saying just stick to one asana. And go for all those preparatories, profound exhalations, post-exhalative retention, etc. All those are in place. You should be so familiar with the protocol that they will happen on their own. You don't have to do them voluntarily. That's a good condition, ripe condition. If you are not ripe, then you will have to do it volitionally, intently, voluntarily. Saying that, let me exhale more, let me inhale more, let me exhale here, let me inhale there, let me exhale this way, let me inhale that way. So that's a voluntary system. So that's the raw condition. Once you are in position, so many things should happen involuntarily. So continue. If you need repetitions, you can go for repetitions. You can make any minor changes in whatever you are doing. You can use a group of asanas which can complement each other. Now, as you get prepared, you can get prepared to be just doing it like you do in a practice session. You want to just do it. But sometimes you want to exercise your body. Sometimes you have to want to remedy your body. That is proper that you remedy your body. Do you understand? Some of you might be having a nagging condition in body, a niggle here and there, a nagging condition in your body. So it will be proper for you to address that. I'm not saying neglect it. I'm not saying neglect it. But in that case, when you are going for release and remedy, what is the role of the mind? What is the contribution of the mind? What is the participation of the mind? How the mind is used, how the mind there is also addressed. Suppose you have stomach ache, you cannot just address the stomach. You'll have to address the mind as well. Because the mind is also suffering because of the stomach ache. You don't say, my stomach is in pain and my mind is not suffering. No, not possible. Because anatomical mind is suffering because the stomach is having an ache. So that mind also has to be addressed. If you are going for exercise, physical exercise, skeletal-muscular exercise, what is the role of the mind? The mind comes differently. So keep on listening, one ear to me and the other ear to inside you for your wisdom and your knowledge, subjective knowledge about what is happening within you. So suppose you are choosing Bharadwajasana to exercise your waist and back and spine. How do you go about? It is one way to go about. Suppose you have a niggle in the back, in the waist. There is obstruction in the waist, there is a pain in the waist, discomfort in the waist or back somewhere. How do you do Bharadwajasana? So you are going for a remedial course in that case when there is a niggle. Now, what is the role of the mind? Like in medicine, you have some medicines called as water-based medicines. Here all are mind-based medicines, breath-based medicines, body-based medicines. So there's mind-based medicine here if you are going for remedials. So it is possible that some of you have an eagle, some of you have inclemency, some of you have a problem, some of you have a diseased condition in a part of the body, such as the back, etc., in twistings, waist, etc., in the twistings. So what is the role of the mind? The mind is coming as a part of pathy. Mind is a part of pathy. But if you are exercising, the mind is not coming as a pathy. How does the mind come? If you are exercising your body system, okay, let go whatever you are doing, finish it, complete it, and just listen to me for a while. Let me give some footnote to what I have said and what I meant to say. As I said, you will be going by your predilection. So some of you want to exercise. You want to exercise the body. And you are doing an asana. The same asana can be done when you are wanting a remedy. You follow? You can be doing the same asana if you want a remedy. If the remedy is needed, prerogative, then you can get remedy out of the same asana that you are doing. If you want just to do it like you do in a practice session, you don't have a problem, you just want to do it like practice session. How do you do it? You are doing at a class and you are learning here, you want to be learning here. So sometimes you might be learning on your own. Let me learn Bharadwajasana. Let me learn something on Bharadwajasana. Body-mind interaction, breath-body interaction, mind-body interaction, body-mind-breath interaction. I want to learn something. I want to study something. And therefore you might do Bharadwajasana. I have got a problem. Therefore you might do Bharadwajasana. I want to exercise my back. Therefore you might do Bharadwajasana. So there will be so many reasons why you are doing it. In any case, the mind is coming there. And here is an endeavor where the mind can be studied as to its role, contribution, participation, and also the mind getting benefits. You should be also able to give benefits to mind. Suppose you want to release your back, which has a catch, which is where is an eagle. And in Bharadwajasana, you want to release the back. Don't just give the release to back, but see that the mind also has some advantage in very process, and not wait for the mind to get benefit when you have overcome the catch condition, spasm condition. Of course, the mind will have advantage. When the spasm is gone, catch is gone, mind will feel fine. But during the process, what is the advantage of the mind? Not after the process and not after the achievement of the goal. Yes, my back was stiff and now I overcome the stiffness, mind will be happy. The waist had a catch or some obstruction and now that is gone, mind will be happy. Not the happiness of the mind or benefit of the mind after something desirable has happened, but in the very process, is the mind getting something? What is it getting? It may not be benefit, but what is the mind getting? What is the mind receiving? It may not be benefit from your point of view, but mind is getting something, mind is receiving something. What is it that the mind is receiving? What is it the mind that it is getting? What is it that the mind is taking? See, a tennis player doesn't monitor the mind, or a cricketer or a sportsman doesn't monitor the mind and try to understand the mind. as benefactor and beneficiary, because his goal is to win the tournament or get acclaim as a good player, may lose the match, but wants recognition as somebody who has played a good game, wonderful game, maybe not successful, but played a very good game. So he plays for gratification. But he doesn't see how the mind is being used. Say, suppose tennis player is serving. While serving, he doesn't look at the mind. He wants the mind to come in. But what is the mind giving and taking and receiving? He doesn't see. He wants the mind to give, for him to give a formidable service so that the opponent cannot answer. So he wants the mind to be involved, mind to be giving and giving and giving. In giving, the mind might get something. What is it? A tennis player cannot study. A cricketer, hockey player, any sportsman cannot study. But in yoga, you can study. Do you understand? The sportsmen want the mind to come, mind to subserve their purpose. And their mind will be only served after the goal is reached. Then the mind will be happy. Otherwise, he just wants the mind to come in in his act of maybe bowling a ball or doing batting and playing strokes, or hockey player or football player or whatever sportsman. They want the mind to come in. They want the mind to participate. They want the mind to be supportive. They don't play for their mind while they are playing. They are ultimately playing for the mind. End result, they want it for the mind, but while they are in the process, they neglect the mind. They don't look at the mind. They just want the mind to come in, support, be resourceful. If the tournament is won, the mind is going to get delight. If you come out with flying colors, the mind is going to get delight. But here the mind is getting something while you are in process. This is what happens in the internal composite collective dynamics. The collective dynamics are there even for a sportsman, because there is a synchronicity. All they come together, body, mind, breath come together while bowling a ball, or by hitting a stroke, or while kicking a ball in football to score a goal, or passing, etc. The body, mind, breath combinations are there, but they are for you. As a player, here they are for each other. In yoga, they are for each other. Therefore, unique condition for you to monitor the mind while you are in process. You can't expect a batsman to say, or a sportsman to say, watch your mind while you are playing the game. He will mess up with the game. Do you understand? He will mess up with the game if he watches the mind, his own mind. He wants the mind to come. He wants the mind to be used. But there is no chance that he can watch the mind. If he watches the mind, he will mess up. If you are doing any professional job, whatever, if you keep on watching your own mind while you are doing your work, you will mess up with it. That is not the field to watch your own mind while you are doing. If your housewife is cooking the food, it is not proper that she should be watching the mind all along. While cooking the food, she will mess up with the cooking act. If you are a professional person, if you watch your own mind while you are doing, that's not the place to watch your mind. You want the mind to come in. You want the mind to support you. You want the mind to participate, but you don't want to watch your own mind. That's the condition of mundane, worldly, professional, personal activity, or social activity, or community activity, any kind of activity the human being carries out. But in yoga, when they are interactive, you can watch the mind. As a matter of fact, you should watch your mind. Are you getting what I'm trying to put across? This is a unique endeavor. They are not working for you. Elsewhere, they work for you. Mind works for you in your profession, in your personal act, your social activity, your community activity. You want the mind to participate. You want the mind to be supportive. You want the mind to be resourceful. You want the mind to be helpful. But you cannot give a slight attention to your own mind there. You mess up with your activity. Not in yoga. In yoga, you should be able to watch your mind. You should watch your mind. You are expected to watch your mind, and you can be watching your mind. And the watching your own mind will be raising the structure of yoga. I don't know how successfully I have put across. It's a unique endeavor. So you will be doing your asanas, whatever you did so far. Many of you did for release, activity, exercise. Many of you did for release, activity, remedials. Some of you did release, activity, and just practice or learn or study. But there are so many reasons why you might be doing whatever you are doing. I've given these proposals in psychodynamics behind your asanas, in the book Chitta Vignan, and in the classes also. I want to do, I want to perform, I want to learn, I want to study, I want a remedy, I want exercise. There'll be a number of purposes why you will be doing it. And the mind is going to be there, as also the body, breath, and other things are there. But today you are supposed to highlight the mind as a participant, as a benefactor, as a dispenser, as an actor. What kind of activities it is carrying out? And I say actor, not in the sense of dramatology. What activities is it carrying out? It carries out myriad activities: cognitive, cognitive, sensitive, perceptive, pneumatic, the memory, imagination, aspiration, motivation. It has so many functions. See, when the mother is motivating her own child to walk, when the mother is motivating the baby to walk, and if the baby is motivated, the mother has happiness. Is that right? Mother is motivator. But despite being motivator, the mother has a satisfaction for having motivated the baby to walk. Of course, the baby will have a benefit because it is able to walk. But mother being motivator, she has a benefit. So if the mind is motivator in your asanas, mind should have some benefit. Like mother, when he motivates the child, mother has a benefit. When the mind is motivating, mind should have a benefit. And mind is not merely benefactor, as we naively or in raw analysis understand. Mind is motivator, therefore benefactor. As a benefactor, mind will have a benefit. I want to understand this seemingly complex psychology, because we are not used to Adhyatmic psychological processes. We are used to worldly, mundane, materialistic psychological processes. Therefore, it might be a little confusing, but I'm trying to give some analogies, metaphors, similes. Like as I said, mother motivating the baby to stand and walk. When she motivates, mother is happy. So mind is a motivator. It's not a benefactor. It has a benefit. It's a beneficiary. So here is a scope and place for you to identify that. I've given you the laboratory observatory. You can observe, provided you have this outlook that let me try to understand. Mind is benefactor. What is its benefit? How it is beneficiary? By being benefactor. Mutual within themselves, they are all mutual benefactors, beneficiaries. If the body is benefactor, it is also beneficiary. If the breath is benefactor, it's also beneficiary. If the mind is benefactor, it's also beneficiary. So I given a long footnote. Now, let's try to pursue this precept in what we are going to do. So you can be going for standing poses. You can do Uttida Hasta or Trikonasana, etc. Or that option is unsuitable, you can go for supine option or your option. What you do, which asana you do, which group of asanas you do is not important. Because some of you are doing for, some pathological condition. They have problem and they want to do. Some people have no such problem, they are doing. But the precept can be studied in whatever you are doing. So proceed. So Trikonasana on the right side, whatever support you want, take it. Because the better supported you are, you can carry out this observation and study, rather than doing independently and struggling to get the posture and negotiate the posture. So take whatever supports. So I will be commencing to open out the precept that I have given. I am not saying I have already given and you just work on it. So whatever position you are doing for whatever purpose, maybe pathy, you might be doing asana for a pathy, or you can do it for exercise, or you can do just for a practice, or you can do for learning something, studious approach, etc. But in any case, this study will be there. Even if you are exercising, this study is there. Even if you are in a pathy, this study is there. What is that study? So let's try to understand the contribution, participation of surface anatomical mind. Identify that. Your surface awareness. Awareness is act of the mind. Awareness is of the mind. Awareness is in the mind. Awareness is by the mind, of the mind, in the mind. So surface anatomy. What is the mind there? How it is guiding you. How it is guiding you. How it is contributing. How it is participating materially. What is it? Its act. It has conative act, cognitive act, sensitive act, perceptive act. Find out what are the mnemonic act, motivating act. So maybe you will need motivation, perhaps, if you are not sufficiently motivated. So the mind can be a motivator. So it's a motivating mind. So that's an activity. You want to remember the memory base of this asana. So you want the mind to come in there with its memory. So mnemonic mind, conative mind, cognitive mind, sensing, sensitivity is act of the mind, perception is act of the mind, awareness is act of the mind. So start identifying in what way the mind is coming, what is the mind doing, what is the mind giving, what is the mind working as a benefactor. You will change the sides on your own. I am not regimenting. You may repeat the same side, or you can change and you can repeat Trikonasana, whatever asana you are doing for a while. So the taker mind, the giver mind, the motivator mind, the sensor mind, the perceptor mind, the thinker mind, the knower mind, the doer mind to knower mind, because you're not merely doing, you're also knowing something. Now, who is the knower? The mind is the knower. So find out in what way the mind is coming in your surface anatomy, in your anatomical system, skeletal-muscular system. Secondly, second place, skeletal-muscular system. Third place, anatomical system. Then physiological system. Then cellular system. So identify, do the mind mapping in your anatomy, which I have told you as anatomical mind. There is mind of the spine, of the shoulder blade, of the sternum, of the shoulder, of the navel, of the belly, of the waist, of the buttocks, of the hips, of the legs, of the thighs, of the shin, of the foot, etc., etc. So that is called the anatomical mind, skeletal-muscular mind, anatomical mind, physiological mind, cellular mind, corporeal mind. Then your mind of the breath system. So what is the breath, the mind of the breath system? What's the difference between the act of mind of the body system and mind of the breath system and the mind of the mind system? That's why I've often told you about these precepts. Body system of BMB, breath system of BMB, mind system of BMB. So try to identify, pick up the mind from each of the system and try to understand their acts, their roles. Figure out, why are you doing your Trikonasana or whatever asana? Are you trying to exercise? Are you trying to find remedy? So be clear about it and then try to identify the role. In that group of asanas, if anything comes handy, you can do that. I'm not saying stick to that. If you cannot stick to that, you can do something that comes handy, because many of you don't want to do Trikonasana more than 2-3 times because that is not in your calibration. So you want to change an asana. I don't mind that, but there are some who can persist and there is a lot to explore, discover in Trikonasana. They can go. If not, you can change suitable asana. So what is the concept? Mind in body system. What are its potentials? What are its functions? What are its roles? What are its acts? How it is working as benefactor, and being a benefactor, a beneficiary, and being a beneficiary, a benefactor. Do you need explanation of this? Being a benefactor, that is beneficiary, but being a beneficiary, that's a benefactor. If you have read my book, there you will be getting this explanation, but many of you may not be having it on your fingertips. It may not be in your ready reckoning. Okay, let's go and listen. You can sit for a while and listen. Say, when you are a master and you have a servant working under you, who is serving whom? Who is serving whom? Obviously, we say the servant is serving the master, because the servant is meant for the master. So the master will take care to see that the servant is serving me. If the servant is not sufficiently serving me, there will be yelling and scolding or penalization or whatever. Is that right? Your house servant doesn't work to your satisfaction. What do? Because you think you are benefactor exclusively. You are beneficiary exclusively and the servant is benefactor. Servant is giving benefits and you should take benefits. So you want benefit from your servant. and you take care to see that you get your benefits properly, timely, etc. If you don't get, you scold, you yell, you admonish, or you penalize, or whatever, or you try to motivate, you do counseling, you are not serving well, please serve me properly, etc. You may not be rough and tough, you may not be very aggressive, you may not be angry person, you may not be a younger person, anger person. So some people don't at all lose tempers. काय गौरी बरोबर ना? आम्ही कधी रागवणार नाही कोणावर, रागवत नाही बाबा आम्ही, गोंजारणार आणि सांगणार. So you will tell do the counseling, little pampering, servant, etc., enticing and alluring the servant will serve better. It's not necessary that everyone will be angry with the servant. You will try to motivate, you will try to induce, you will try to do some counseling, but some way or the other, you will see that you are a good beneficiary from your servant. So therefore, you think it's an absolute relationship that one who is working under you, and for you, he is working, therefore you are the beneficiary. And he is a benefactor. But do you know, on the first of the month, you serve him by handling the pay packet. You are benefactor of his family. You are benefactor of your servant, and you are benefactor of the family of the servant, because you are paying for the family, he and his family to be maintained. So who is maintaining the family? You are maintaining the family. Are you not subserving? So for 30 days, he subserves you. And on that day, you subserve him. And actually, by giving the pay packet, you are subserving that person for entire month, because the material care is taken by the pay package. So even the master is serving the servant. Therefore, in philosophy, it is said that there is no dependence or independence. We think master is independent and the servant is dependent. There is interdependence. This is the reality of life. There is interdependence. Interdependence is only reality. Dependence is not reality. Independence is not a reality. Nobody is independent in the world, and nobody is dependent in the world. There is interdependence. This is the reality of the world. Which philosophy diverges? Social science won't diverge. Anyway. So what is the mind doing, getting, receiving, dispensing, used, using, applied, applying, benefactor, beneficiary in body system, and how differently in breath system, and how differently in mind system? This is the pursuit of yoga. So you are supposed to monitor your mind, assess your mind, examine your mind, scrutinize your mind, read your mind, etc. So wherever you are able to do this, then it becomes yoga. And this is the best place to do it. As I said earlier, you can't be an advocate or a physician or an engineer or a CEO or working in some office or a professor. Even if you are a professor of psychology, while you are teaching psychology, you may perhaps study the mind of your student, but you don't study your own mind. Although your mind is getting advantage, giving advantage, receiving, dispensing advantage, the psychology professor cannot study the mind while he is professing in an in a college or a university. He will try to study the mind of the student, and perhaps he will say, I have read the mind of all 50 students are in front of me. Maybe possible, but not his own mind. He can't study his own mind while he is professing. As I said, he will mess up with his act if he goes on watching his own mind while he is teaching. A CEO goes on watching his own mind while he is executing the business. Will mess up. Here is a condition that you can do it. Yoga is a condition where you can do it. So try to develop the necessary trait to carry out the pursuit in this manner. Okay, so go to Adho Mukha Svanasana and get your acts together. Alert to all system because it is lost orientation. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then go for your asana that, or if you are supine, you can be giving alert, sounding alert, signaling alert. Get your acts together for asana endeavor. Get your acts together. But, however, from the word go, monitor the mind. Hawk's eyes on the mind. When you are going for preparatories, once again, a short preparatory, a brief preparatory, again, how is the mind? What is the mind? So create a condition that you are able to observe the mind without any discomfiture, without any disfacility. So you'll have to develop a trait of it, and then it won't be a lack of facility. And go for whatever your pre-dial action you want to exercise, skeletal-muscular body, you want to exercise body system, you want to exercise breath system, you want to exercise mind system, you want to learn body, breath, mind system, you want remedy for body and mind system, whatever. Try to know the role of the mind, and then it should be followed by Trikonasana. Once you have acts together, go for Trikonasana once again. Now, what is the mind of the spine doing as against the mind of your hip segment? What is the mind? What is its act? Right from conative act to mnemonic act, memory act, motivation act, inducement act. Find out, do you need to induce something? A location might be requires inducement. Or some other location may not need inducement. It might voluntarily come in. Some other location may not come voluntarily. So you need to do some inducement, motivation. So find out how the mind is playing a role. If there is a well-motivated location, what is the role of the mind? If there is dearth of motivation, deficiency of motivation, what is the role of the mind? Naturally, it will be motivator. When there is a good motivity, what is the role of the mind? Say in the example I gave you earlier, the child is motivated to stand and walk. What is the role of the mother? She doesn't have to now motivate. Child is motivated. Yet, mother has a role. What is the role? This is not the role of a motivator. Then what is the role? Maybe appreciator. The child is walking well. Baby is walking well. Mother will be playing a role of appreciator. So understand the role of mother there in that example which I gave you. Motivator, the mother. And mother giving encouragement, appreciating mother, appreciator. So as an appreciator, she has one kind of benefit. As a motivator, she has another kind of benefit. As motivator, she got one kind of benefit. As appreciator, another kind of benefit mother would be receiving. So the mind in body system, mind in breath system, mind in mind system. Hope you are not confused with the dichotomy, mind in mind system. You can change the sides. Finishing on the left side, you can go to Virabhadrasana 2. If you want to pursue with Trikonasana, welcome. I'm just giving option for those who are looking for option. If you are, don't make it imperative, all of you go to Virabhadrasana. If you want to be still explorative in Trikonasana, welcome. I'm just making a recommendation in case those who don't have way forward, Virabhadrasana 2. So here is an advantage when you are doing this virtual classes. You are all alone in your room. While in class, it happens that you are only the one who has gone to Virabhadrasana 2, others are still in Trikonasana, then you are a little hesitant. You want to also do what the class is doing. There is a sense of abashment and sense of shame. Oh, others are not doing what I am doing, so let me do that. But now that's not a problem. You are quite almost, we are learning one-to-one. Each one is one-to-one with me. So you have that advantage. So be clear about your dynamics, the drive, motive, motion, execution, purpose, and then how the mind is coming. For every aspect of the dynamics, mind will come differently. Like mind has a role for drive, mind has another role for motive, mind has another role for motion, mind has another role for execution, mind has another role in purpose. So psychodynamics, different psychodynamics, mind comes differently. Mind comes everywhere. As much as the body, breath come to everywhere, mind too comes everywhere. But we are highlighting the mind. How does it come? So suppose you decide to learn now, interaction of your spinal breathing organ and the body system. If you are learning something, if you are studying something, how is the role of the mind? Rather than doing, if you are learning and studying, what's the role of the mind? What is the partaking of the mind and parting with the mind? The mind is parting with, mind is partaking. So while you are, mind is parting with, simultaneously it can be partaking. Let go, listen. This is part of human psychology. So let me make you aware of it. See, you have a beloved and you are parting with something that your beloved likes it. Is the beloved only happy because you are parted with? You are also partaking delight in giving your beloved what the beloved wanted you to part with. So when you part with for the beloved, that the beloved is expecting, naturally beloved will be happy, but you are partaking happiness. Because your beloved is happy for what you are parted with, you are also happy. Because there is a relationship of the nature of lover and the beloved. So in such relationship, when you part with, you are partaking. You part with an object, you part with a gesture, and you partake at the same time. Delight, happiness, joy. Why is this? This is because of the relationship between the two as beloved and lover. So here the body, mind, breath are all related to each other. If you recall that precept, that they are related to each other. So if the mind is parting with for the body system and breath system, it will also partake. Like mother is happy when the baby is happy when she made the baby walk. That's the relationship between the mother and the child, where there are different dynamics and therefore there are different outcomes. It's not a condition that mother motivated, the child is happy, mother is not happy. Child walked, mother is not happy. It doesn't happen. What is the joy of a child when it is able to walk? It's a different joy to the mother that the child is able to walk. The joy is not same. Joy of the mother seeing the child walking and the joy of the child that it is able to walk, the joys are different. So motivator's joy and motivated entity, the child, joys are different. So when the mind is parting with, it parts with for the two. In parting with, there is something partaken by the mind. While the parting with is taking place, simultaneously or in quick succession, there is a partaking. It is because of the relationships that you have in the embodiment constituents, body, mind, breath, senses, psyche, consciousness. They are so related to each other that while you are parting with, you are partaking. While you are partaking, you are parting with. So how does it happen? See, suppose I am a master and I have 10 servants serving me. I win a raffle unexpectedly, some 1,000 million rupees. I distribute my money. So I part with whatever percentage, 1%, 2% or 0.1%, 0.1%, I part with and say, go on, all of you enjoy. I won the raffle of 1,000 million rupees. You also enjoy. So I give some hundreds of rupees to each of the servant and I say, enjoy. I part with. When I partake the joy of having won the raffle, I part with some of the joy of winning the raffle to all the servants around me. I say, make merry, go and celebrate. So each one I just gave away 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees or whatever, and just go and enjoy. So understand the human relationships, how the dynamics are there in human relationships. Similarly, body, mind, breath, all constituents have relationship. We don't have parts in us. These are not various parts. They are constituents and they are related. For a machine, car, the carburetor is not related to block piston. The block piston is not related to shaft. Shaft is not related to chassis. But they all have to come together for a car. They have to come together in an assembly. They are not related. They are parts, but they are not mutually related. We don't have parts of body. There is a mutual relationship. So understand the difference between parts of a machine and parts of human body. So as long as they are not amputated or excised, they are very much part of our. If your hand is excised, amputated, then it is not your part. But as long as it is part of your body, it is not just a part. There's a relationship. They're all related. The constituents are related. In a car, constituents are not related. They are assembled. That's why the expression is in engineering, assemble, assemblement, assembly of a car, assembly of a machine. We are not assembly. Therefore, they are mutually related, and therefore, these apparently empirically confusing aspects are there. While I'm participant, while I'm parting with, I'm partaking. While I'm parting with, I'm partaking. This is confusing to empirical mind. But in the very negotiation of it, you will see that all this is happening. So to be reading the mind in body system, breath system, mind system, and try to analyze them, try to, in a classified manner, analyze them, assess them, understand them, comprehend them, read them, is a pursuit of yoga. Anyway, now let be little homogeneous. I prefer all of you go on chair Bharadwajasana. Only if that is not proper for you, for any justified reason, that diarrhea, running, diarrhea, etc., don't do it. You can go for your option. But generally, I want you to settle down on the chair Bharadwajasana. Sit with the back to the backrest. Sit as you sit on the chair. I don't want your Bharadwajasana sitting, which you are used to. Like I'm sitting on my chair with my back to the backrest, sit on the chair. So face the front. Get your left hand to right knee and take the right hand back. And do your Bharadwajasana. So make your left hand functional. Maybe you will keep against the thigh, against the knee. Or maybe if you can catch hold of the edge of the seat of the chair. So you can do whatever is possible, whatever is going to work, you can do. And similarly, the backhand, find out how you can be using, what are the different ways to use the backhand, whether you should keep it, the forearm on the backrest, or whether you should take the palm to the other corner of the backrest. So try all those things. Primarily, I want you to do shoulder measure. Shoulder, clavicle, shoulder joint, trapezius, clavicle, armpits, sockets of the arms, dorsal back, top of the clavicle band on the front, and above the shoulder blade and above. And start working on that segment. So I want this Bharadwajasana to be shoulder asana, arm socket asana. And in that arm socket, shoulder, the suggested segment, identify the body system, breath system, mind system, their interactions, their interplay, their inter-responses, and see that the addressals are taking place. How are you able to use your foot part on the floor? How you can be using the foot part on the floor? The right foot and left foot are dissimilarly used. The right leg and left leg are dissimilarly used. How you can be using them to be more contributive to what you are trying to storm. Shoulder, deltoid, trapezium, armpit, sockets, shoulder blades and above, clavicle and around. Body system, breath system, mind system. So find out how you can use the right hand, left hand differently. Right foot, right leg, right socket, left socket of the leg differently. The waist and rest of the parts, because it is a composite activity, although it is shoulder measure or that segment measure, it's a holistic process. So turning the head to right side, turning the head to the left side, not turning the head at all, the head back, etc. You have to storm that segment which I am suggesting. Hope you have understood the segment. Breast at above and shoulder blade and above, including the laterals or the same band. Now, if you are going to work for body system, all of you, work for body system and find out what is the role of the mind. You can undo and redo. You don't change the sides until I tell you. Don't change the side, do the same side. So body system measure, body system stormed, body system measure. How is the mind coming? In body system, if you go for exercise, how is the mind coming? If the body system, you are going for remedy, how is the mind coming? If the body system study, how is the mind coming? Are you catching what I'm trying to say? How is the mind coming? If the body system is a major targeted area, maybe a pathy. There is a pathological condition, therefore pathy. No pathological condition, so no pathy. But then you are going to activate and exercise, or you are going to learn, study. How is the mind coming for these three purposes? Pathy, exercise, and study. How is the mind partaking, participating, coming in? What is the mind taking and giving, receiving and dispensing? Role of the mind activating, mind activated, mind addressed, mind addressing, while the body is done in a major way. Don't change the side, I said, until I tell you. Some of you have gone to left. I did not say go to left. I said don't change until I suggest. So have the coordinated effort, improve the footwork, handwork together, synchronize the footwork on the floor to handwork at the top, leg work at the bottom to arm work on the top, spine work, chest work, shoulder, shoulder, shoulder. Now the other side. Now the left side. So the body targeted, body stormed for the three reasons which I told you. Either you are going for some remedials, some release and remedy, etc. If there is a nagging condition, or go for exercise and try, even if there is no nagging, find out how do you remedy. Everyone has a remedy. Your shoulders are stiff after a degree. That means there is a pathology. You don't have to have a pain, but you can't further work on the suggested segment, opening, expanding, widening, etc., mobilizing. Somewhere you feel obstructed. So that's, you'll have to remedy the obstacle. And secondly, exercise. Exercise the body matter. And thirdly, study. How is the mind coming differently? See, mind is like, an example, if I have to give a sugar, a sweetening agent, how will the sugar come when it is plain water, lemon water, bitter water? or bitter substance like the bitter gourd, and then you have turned out juice. कारल्याचा रस, bitter gourd. How do you put sugar? What does it do? What does the sugar do when it is lemon water? How does the sugar work when it's a plain water? So mind is coming like lemon. How does it come differently for the suggested segment? Exercise, remedy, and study. Exhalative treatment, inhalative treatment, retentive treatment. So understand the nuances here. The breath comes as exhalative and inhalative retentive phase in phases. So how you can be accessing the segment, activating the segment, and what is the role of the mind there? What is the mind doing? Does it come as motivator, or does it come as an appreciator, or does it come as a reader? Does it come as assessor? Does it come as a knower? Does it come as a reader? So identify all these things will be happening. You can take a break, you can repeat the same side. So see that you are coordinating the entire embodiment: footwork, leg work, hip work, back work, spine work, chest work, arm work, hand work, head work, etc. Head is also turning this side and that side. For your shoulder to be stormed, the segment to be stormed. Breast and above on front, shoulder blade and above at the back, and of course the lateral in the same confinement. How you can use the arm differently, right hand and left hand differently for shoulder sake. Let go, relax. See, I've been telling you it's an explorative process, discovery process, because most of you have conceived that this is a technocentric process. Teachers tell us right hand like this, right hand here, left hand like this, left hand there, and you go on doing it. So we have made yoga so technocentric. The quack teachers and quackery in yoga has made it technocentric. Your right hand should be here and like this. Your left hand should be there and like that. Your right leg should be like this. Left leg should be like this. Waist should be like this. Spine should be like this. So it has become technocentric because this ghost of precision has got mounted on us. And therefore, we want a technical format to be perfecting. You can't be playing with technical, all this shuffling all the time and perfect it. So this ghost of perfection is badly aspecting Iyengar clan students, moreover fanatic Iyengar clan students, because they have made it technocentric. I am telling you to devise, find out how. Suppose you are turning to right hand side, the left hand can come to thigh, left hand can come go to the edge of the seat of the chair. Find out how the left hand can go, how the left arm, forearm can go, where the right hand can go, and find out how you will be able to storm it. You have to hijack the segment. And therefore, you have to be explorative and discoverative. Because uneducated followers of light on yoga think that Bharadwaj Asana should be done like this. How are Guruji's feet? Where are the Guruji's feet? How is the right hand of Guruji? How is the left hand of Guruji? Where is the chest of Guruji? Where is the head of Guruji? And then they try to follow. It is lack of education which is causing that. Those who encountered Guruji, they came to know that in their opinion, there was inconsistency. What he said yesterday and what he's saying today is different. Light on Yoga does not say every day differently. Open the photograph part. It will show you every day the same way, same thing. It doesn't show someday this way and someday that way. So those who are haunted by light on yoga, this is what is happening. Light on yoga should be a blessing. We should be blessing you, and not that you should be haunted by it. But there are many who are haunted by light on yoga, not blessed by light on yoga. To be blessed, you must be educated. So try to understand how you can use the legs differently so that your shoulders can work differently. What is the footwork for shoulder to be accessed and stormed? What is the leg work for shoulder to be stormed? What is the spine work, chest work, etc. for shoulders, the segment to be stormed? So be open-minded. That's why I'm not giving techniques. Keep the right hand here, keep the left hand there, and then turn. Kallaka Gauri. So it's open architecture. I'm giving that goal. You must storm your segment. Find out the ways and means how you will storm better, how you will storm more profoundly. So what additional things can you do? Say brick between the feet, because you know what happens to feet. If you are a short person, put something under the feet. The brick between the knees, are you able to storm the shoulder differently? Any change anywhere is going to storm the shoulder differently. Brick between the knees, brick between the feet. Sometimes try back home, take a strap, a belt from under the seat of the chair over the thighs and then wrap it with the seat. Fasten the belt, fasten the legs, your thighs, belt coming from bottom of the seat to the thighs on the top, and fasten it. There's open architecture in classical Iyengar yoga. Light on yoga every day suggests you same technique. Guruji never gave you same technique on 2 different days. As a matter of fact, one technique was not the technique on any other day. It was never again used. Open architecture, that's how Iyengar system is. Light on yoga is not a book on Iyengar system. I am trying to tell you in so many references. You know, like orphanage is meant for orphans. If you have both the parents, you cannot be going to orphans. So light on yoga is meant for those who don't have Iyengar teachers. Whereas, unfortunately, the Iyengar clan has made it Bible of yoga. I don't want to tear in much into that matter, but much can be torn there. The conventions. It is Guruji's that come from the horse's mouth that it is a good replacement for a bad teacher. Anyway, Bharadwajasana, now turn to right hand side, shoulder measure, same segment. Now turn to one side as you do usually Bharadwajasana. So both the take to right hand side and turn to right hand side. Now be explorative, be open-minded. How will I use, what will I do from the feet? I want to target my shoulder segment, the segment suggested. What is the footwork, leg work, knee work, thigh work? What can I do there? So that the shoulder is better stormed, because you think otherwise the brick between the feet is for the feet. No. Brick between the feet will work for shoulder. You think brick between the knees is for hip and thighs. No. Brick between the knees is also for shoulders. So explore this. Explore this. Otherwise, you are in analog technology. You think brick between the knees for the buttocks, hips, pelvis, knees. Brick between the feet for the feet and legs, lower legs. No, they are also for shoulders. So this you have to explore on your own, and how you can storm the shoulder, the segment. So sometimes you can be doing on your own with the strap around the thighs, and you are hit the belt out with the brick between the knees. You hold the brick, you sandwich the brick, but with the belt around the knee or above the knee, you try to hit the belt out. You try to break the belt. It will work differently on the shoulder and the segment. Anyway. So now for a change, let's work on shoulder as a part of breath system. Earlier it was body system. The same segment as a part of breath system. Now find out how do you engineer the dynamics. How do you engineer the negotiations? Don't change the side, you can repeat. You can repeat, undo and redo. I said you have to turn on the right side to the chair. Somebody sitting facing the front. भारद्वाज क्लास मध्ये करता तसं करा खुर्चीवर. क्लास मध्ये कसं करता, कसं बसता खुर्चीवर. Bharadwaj also on the chair. Nandini, who is that? I want you to turn to side. खुर्चीवर क्लास मध्ये कसं बसता भारद्वाजासनला. ते पहिलं झालं, आता सेकंड चालू आहे मॉड्यूल. So shoulder, the segment as a breathing locus, breathetic organ, the breath system there, attend to breath system. It implies the body system posture should be proper, but over and above there is a structure, that second tier, that tier the breath. Now, how is the mind coming? The point is, how did the mind come in the first module when it was body system consideration? It was you are targeting the body system of the segment. Now you are targeting the same segment as locus of the breath system or center of the breath system. How is the mind coming? How is the mind active, functioning, participating, involved? The cognitive, sensitive, perceptive acts of the mind, how are they now? When this is in your language, breath measure process. And then you can do it for remedy, you can do it for exercise, you can do it for learning and studying. How is the mind coming? The mind will come significantly differently than what was in first module, where I said it's a body system addressal. Now it is breath system addressal of the location. Now change the sides. So figure out how you can use the arms differently. Some of you are not understood. Some of you are facing the front of the chair. Some of you are still the yellow t-shirt. I don't know your name. Machindra ka. खुर्चीवर साईडला वळून करायचं ट्विस्टिंग. आता खुर्ची वळवू नका, तुम्ही वळा. तुम्ही पट्टा का बांधून ठेवला तिथं? काय ऐकताय? Now same segment. I am not changing the segment. So understand the invariable and understand the variable breath system. location of the breath system and location and the breath system. How will you use the hands, arms, legs, feet? Because this is not body measure consideration, this is breath measure consideration. And therefore, there must be significant difference between how your hand work, leg work, foot work, palm work is, back work, spine work, chest work, head work is. Again, the head will turn to both sides, but you should know what is being targeted. The same segment as locus of breath system, breatho system, locus center of breathing system, and breathing system by it, breathing system of it, breathing system of it, by it, because the breathing system is all over, so therefore by it. How is the mind coming? Act, role, function, purpose of the mind, taker mind, giver mind, receiver mind, dispenser mind, benefactor mind, beneficiary mind. Mind being used, usage for the mind. So this is the pursuit of yoga, to be developing clarity with respect to these nuances. You can undo and redo, figure out how should you keep your feet, etc. What are the ways and various ways of keeping the leg work to be in place. As I said, brick between the feet. Don't do now. Brick between the feet, brick between the knees, legs tied, arms, right hand this way. Find out, are there at least two ways of using your right hand? Don't just say there is only one way. Then you are not Iyengar student, Iyengar clan student. If you say there is only one way of using the right hand, one way of using the left hand, you are not a pursuant of Iyengar system. Many teachers have brought this impression. Say the way you are told and always do like this. So your the left hand, backhand can go back. So find out different ways to use the two hands, two arms. So be explorative, have open architecture. I'm not giving a structure that you must be structuring that way. I'm sorry, someone is still making a mistake sitting on the chair wrongly. The knees are facing the camera. It's some foreigner. Knees are not supposed to face the camera. You have to turn to side and thighs should face the camera. It is second module. That way. What you did was the first module. So how can you take the left hand in two different places at minimum? When you change its place, it works differently. It is worked differently. So that's why you should be explorative. Okay, let go. Now the third kind of Bharadwajasana, inserting the legs. Turn around, get up, and sit like you sit for Vipridandasana, inserting the legs. If you need to turn the chair to camera, you can do that. And inserting the legs. So third module on chair Bharadwajasana. Again, the same segment. Now the mind system. This is the variable. You have to insert the legs in like Vipridandasana. विपरीतासनाला कसे बसता खुर्चीत? नंदिनी बरोबर नाही बसले. You have to turn around and insert the legs under the backrest. खुर्चीवर हा ठीक आहे. I cannot see. ठीक आहे, okay then. If you have okay, right. Now turn to right hand side. I'm sorry. Turn to right hand side. Mind system of the same segment, as if that is center of the mind system, locus of the mind system. How does the mind come in? How does the mind participate? What's the difference now in the third module? Find out how you can differently use the left hand and right hand in this Bharadwajasana. Don't just stick to one way of doing the right hand in place and left hand in place. Find out, can you use, be flexible. To be storming the location and storming the location as a mind locus, mind system, there, and mind system by that. Mind system in the short segment and mind system by the segment. Exhalative, inhalative, the changes are there. So watch all those things. How the mind is coming in. Mind participating. Mind participatee. Mind addressed, mind addressing. Mind used, mind using. Mind applied, mind applying. Various functions of the mind, cognitive, sensitive, perceptive, mnemonic. We can take a break and redo it, studiously do it. Again, as I said, if you are doing exercise, how does the mind come? If you are going for remedy, how does the mind come? If you are doing study, how does the mind come? What happens to mind when you are going for exercise? What happens to mind when you go for remedy? What happens to mind when you go for studious channel? The other side. Have you finished both the sides or not yet? And then finish the other side. Okay, finish. The left side. Again, the mind, shoulder, the segment, the same segment that I'm sticking to. How is the mind coming? So in the first module, what was the role of mind? The second module, what was the difference in role? In the third module, what was yet a difference in the role? In the first module, what was the difference in the act? In the second module, what was the difference in the act? And in the third module, what was still a difference in the act? As a participant, as a benefactor, as a beneficiary. And therefore, how the benefits were different. As an addressing entity and addressed entity. Addresser, addressee, addressed. Addressing. Addressed, addressee, and addressing. How the mind is coming. Now slowly undo. You can sit in the chair and listen, relax, listen. What I was trying to put across is that the mind studies, Chaitik studies. Because suppose you want to exercise the body, you don't carry out the study of the mind. If you are going for remedials, you don't study the mind. If you are going for study, you don't study the mind. You study what you are doing. But in asanas, the mind studies are implied, not merely mind studying. Are you understanding? Not merely a condition that the mind is studying, but the mind should be studied. And that's the dichotomy, and that is possible in human system of consciousness. The mind can be studied. Mind can be observed. Mind can be figured out. This is not possible to subhuman brains. They also have brains. So there is no dichotomy, because there is that division. There is a knower mind and a known mind. There is a seer mind and seen mind. So we can really understand our state. When you are quiet, you are not merely quiet, you know that you are quiet. And you know what is quietude. When you are angry, it is not merely that you are angry, you know that you are angry. So when you know that you are angry, when you know how you are angry, you can reform. But suppose when you are angry, you don't know that you are angry, you don't know why you are and how you are angry, you can't reform your mind. This is what happens to subhuman brains. That's why they don't evolve. The monkeys and animals and cattle and beasts and birds and snakes and cobras and sparrows and mosquitoes, they are not evolving. They have not evolved for those millions of years. They also have a state of mind. They have a mind. They have a state of mind. They are happy, they are not happy. Everything is there also for them. But they do not know that they are happy. They do not know that they are sad. They do not know why they are happy, why they are sad, how they are happy and how they are sad. They can't objectify the mind. That is why they are not able to evolve over millions of years. Whereas human being is changing from generation to generation. Human consciousness and brain is so designed that it is fit to devolve and evolve both. Human being can become worse than a cobra because human being can devolve. Human being can become better than a deity because human mind can evolve. How does it evolve? Because it knows its state, the cause of such state, the process of such state, purpose of such state. So pros and cons are known. Therefore, human being can overcome angry nature. You can't expect a cobra to overcome angry nature. Because it doesn't know that it is furious and angry. It has anger. It doesn't know. But human being can know that I get angry, I am angry, sometimes not angry, sometimes rightly angry, sometimes wrongly angry. Can't you identify all this? Sometimes we are rightly angry and sometimes we are wrongly angry. We can identify it. And once you are able to identify, there is a chance for you to evolve, mend yourself. That is why human life is meant for evolvement. But because you are given that privilege that you can evolve, you also can devolve. We have range on both negative positive sides. But subhumans don't have as much range that we have. They have some range. Sometimes the cobra is quiet, sometimes the cobra is angry. But within a limited range, the cobra-ness will not go. But in our human beings, our humanness can go. Many times we are inhuman. And therefore, we get a label, inhuman attitude, inhuman activity. But we never say in doggish activity, in cowish activity, in snakish activity, in cobra-ish activity, in tigerish activity, in croquish activity. Croc is always a croc. Within the range, it remains. And so therefore, you will not come across in crocodile, in crockish croc, or in elephantish elephant, in lionish lion. If that happens, it will perish. They will perish. But if human becomes inhuman, he doesn't perish, others perish. Do you follow? If a person becomes inhuman, he doesn't perish, others perish. Before he perishes, he will perish later. But before that, many others will be perishing. But if the cobra becomes incobraic, it will perish at the first instance. Anyway, point is how today's precept, how the mind was partaking, participating, involved, benefactor, beneficiary, doer, done, knower, known, etc., in body system measure, breath system measure, mind system measure. For that purpose, I took this Bharadwaj from the chair, which was confined to one segment. That's the formalization. So what are the various mind acts? Because if you are through and through body considerate in your asanas and in your Iyengar yoga, you are going to become intolerant people. You are going to become Durvasas, if you know in mythology. Ragit, Rakunde. You are going to become infuriable. So if you are all the time in body measure, body considerate, and body system process, your mind is going to become rough, tough, demonic, satanic, and criminal even. So try to understand how the mind will become if you are obsessionally going lopsided, body measure, body considerate measure, body system measure. Therefore, this is a safety valve. Go to mind system measure, mind measure. Go to breath measure, breath system measure. So the balancing act will be maintained. Because the mind will come in differently. The mind will be processed differently. Mind will be sculpted differently. Mind will be handled differently. And that is important, the mind to be handled in yoga. So see that you have discrete and judicious process of handling body system measure, breath system measure, mind system measure. Don't create imbalance there. If you create imbalance, then you are going for untoward guna constitution. You can become very, very tamasic, or you will become very, very rajasic. There is no chance that by being lopsided, you will become very, very sattvic. For sattvic, you'll have to handle all the three. That was the purpose of the purport. the precept today. So do not be obsessed by a process. Have open mind, open architecture, and get to know the basic precept, the concept of body system, breath system, mind system as benefactors and beneficiaries. So all the three should be made beneficiaries, then the mind is properly shaped and carved and sculpted and cultured. But if you just go for obsessionally body, then mind is spoiled. You will go from bad to worse and from worse to worst. So this balancing act is required. Therefore, the education, that was the purpose of the class today. I don't know how far fruitful.
Prashantji,
In real time, or it doesn't happen in real time, it will take some time. So it should be fruitful. That's what I want it. Okay, yes? Somebody?
and who watches the mind? The mind itself, intelligence, or the seer?
Mind itself. See, the mind, when I refer to mind, it's not the mind that you think about. See, it's a substance, consciousness. The intelligence is made up of mind. The me, I, mine is made up of mind. Emotions are made up of mind. Intelligence is made up of mind. So that's a matter, that's a substance. It is the consciousness substance getting into one container, it becomes mind. Another container, it becomes intelligence. Another container, it becomes emotion. Another container, it becomes sentiments. It is the same substance of consciousness. Like if you want drinking water, and if I bring you water in a plastic mug that is in the bathroom, you will hesitate to drink the water even if the water is pure. You want it in a glass. No matter if the glass is not sanitized, no matter. I sanitize the plastic mug in the bathroom and give you, you refuse. I give it in a glass, you take it. It is water in the mug, water in the glass. Same water in the mug, same water in the glass. But the water function changes. You don't use the water in a glass for your face wash, but if I give you in mug, you will use for face wash. The water is not different. So that substance of consciousness is not different. When it goes into a particular organ called mind organ, it works as mind, likes, dislikes. It goes in another container, it becomes intelligence, right and wrong. It goes in another container, it becomes emotions and sentiments. It goes in another container, it becomes pronoun I. It is the consciousness matter which gives you I-ness. It is the consciousness matter which gives you a mind organ, intellectual organ, emotional organ, sentimental organ, logical organ, whatever organ of the mental functions. Substance is not different. That is the mind in Indian psychology when it comes in philosophy. Therefore, there is one statement, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Mind itself is a matter for bondage and liberation. So the mind goes in different organs and manifests differently. In ego, it will manifest as ego. Ego organ, it becomes ego. Intellectual organ, it becomes intelligence. Mind organ, it becomes mind. Emotional organ, it becomes emotion. Logical organ, it becomes logic. Where is the logic? It is in mind. As a substance, the substantive form of the mind is that it is matter of consciousness. Remove the mind of the person and say, ask him to be logical. Is it possible? So it has to go into particular delimitation, then it operates as a logical and rational mind. It goes into another container, it becomes irrational mind. It goes into emotional container, it becomes irrational. It becomes emotional. That substance is referred to as mind in yoga. Hope that is clear.
Yes, thank you.
Anyway, I wanted you to go for Setu one, but we are losing on time. Anyway, if you anything to be asked, you can ask me. A minute is there.
And the seer,
Seer principle, seer and seer principle are two things. Don't confuse. See, when I'm seer of the watch, I look at the watch. I'm seer, and that's why I see the watch, and therefore the watch is seen. The seer is one thing who is seeing. Seer principle is the principle of consciousness. When Patanjali refers to seer and seen, the reference is to seer principle and not the seer. The ears, are they seers? But ears have a seer principle. Without the seer principles, ears won't hear. But you don't say nose is seer. Nose, olfactory organ doesn't see the smell. It only feels the smell, but there is a seer principle. Seer principle is Atma Chaitanya, Atma Tattva, Purusha Tattva. So don't confuse between seer in Yoga Sutras, it is seer principle. And not in common man's parlance, seer. You are seeing and therefore you say, I am the seer. Now you are all looking at me, therefore you are seers of me. I look at you, I am seers of you. So that is an empirical act of seer. So don't confuse between seer principle. In Patanjali's text, the word seer comes for the principle, not for the act. Here it comes for the act. Okay. So seer is Atma Tattva, Atma Chaitanya, Purusha Tattva, Chiti Shakti. Okay.
Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Ah.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
You said that only as a human we can evolve into a higher, to be a higher being, to a higher nature. So we get to choose. That's where the choice arises. Whether I choose to evolve my intelligence to a higher being or act like an animal. So mine is a two-part question. If I choose an animalistic behavior, I will naturally be born as a kind of animal I behaved. Now, where is the moksha for that animal? How will that animal, say I was born as a serpent, no brain, it has a brain, but no choice.
Yeah.
Where is the moksha for that? How will that animal get a moksha in the next birth?
Okay. That animal will not get moksha. That animal will have to come to human form. And the human form will be getting the spiritual instructions. And then only liberation happens. In case of Gajendra Moksha, the Gajendra was not an animal. It was a cursed being. It became animal as a part of karma vipaka fruition. And there it ended. The moksha sadhana had been accomplished as a human being, but the Gajendra moksha elephant is not any elephant that you can pick up in a forest. It was a deity. That Gajendra in Gajendra moksha was deity, and therefore Gajendra got liberated. So in that case, it was just a kind of a role of elephant that a deity played and got liberated. Otherwise, Vedanta clearly says that the Shastrartha, the Shastras are meant for human beings. The Vedas are not meant for subhumans. But however, human beings become subhumans out of karma siddhanta. So as human beings, we have to take instructions. We have to complete our moksha sadhana. And as human beings, when you complete moksha sadhana, it might be a remote karma, or it might be an archetypal plan that some deity or some about to liberated person or liberated person himself took elephant form and came as elephant, and Gajendra Moksha topic came in mythology. Elephants and snakes and cobras won't get liberated. Special cobra will get liberated. which has taken a form of cobra. It's an enactment of the role. So somebody enacted role of elephant and got liberated. Somebody will enact the role of snake and will get liberated. But liberation, moksha sadhana, will be accomplished only in human form and godly form, devatva and manushyatva. Only two qualify for moksha.
So once you're cast into an animal role, there's no getting out.
It's a role that is enacted. It is because of the archetypal plan. See, Bhagwan appeared as a boar. Now that was enactment. Varaha avatar. So he became a pig. Now the pig was enactment. He was not a pig. It was enactment. Like a actor can be enacting in so many roles. So the Bhagavatas and Bhagwan can play so many in so many forms they can come. Matsya avatar, the god took the form of fish. Fish was not God. God became fish. That's why it is Matsya avatar. It is for archetypal purpose that he took Matsya avatar, Varaha avatar, etc., Kurma avatar. So all tortoises cannot be liberated. But divinity took form. Similarly, a devotee can take a form. Devotee can take a form of tortoise and then instruct the mankind, guide the mankind for better life.
So, just sorry, 1 minute. I think her question is like, what happens to us if we happen to take an animal form? I think she's asking
We will
that
come back. We will
we
become
come back. Yeah, once the karmas are over, you will be reborn as a human. So
a
then,
human being, and we will have to continue our moksha sadhana as human beings, accomplish it as human beings, and then only we are liberated, or we have to get the godliness. Okay.
so I have one more question, sir. So you say mind of the body, like mind of the shoulders, mind of the back. Suppose we are tense, then we find that the shoulders get tense, the back gets tense. So there is tension in that. Is that what you mean when you say mind of the body?
No. It is only in yoga you have associated conditions. So everything is wholesome. Body, mind, breath are needed. They are needed in yoga. Elsewhere, they are not needed. Your tension may be on account of shoulder, or tension might reflect on the shoulder. But there is no tension of the shoulder. But in asanic condition, needed conditions, that's the act of needing, they get into each other and therefore they become unified matter. When they become unified matter, they are part of body system, breath system, mind system.
Okay. So when you say that, it's only in the like needed condition. What you meant when you mean that mind of the body, like mind of shoulder, mind of back, it's only in the needed condition, not in the
Yeah. So in yoga, elsewhere it is there. Mind is everywhere, but it doesn't manifest everywhere as a mind. In certain organs of the body, the mind will manifest. But in asanas, they are not exoteric anatomy physiology that your embodiment is. Your liver is not liver, stomach is not stomach. Your generative organ is not generative organ. Your coronary organ is not coronary organ. It is needed completely. And therefore, that's the way to map them. And that's the way to handle them. Then only you can handle them, read them, understand them. You can't think of your shoulder when you are an engineer doing your engineering work. You can't study your shoulder. That's not the place to study your shoulder or do the mapping of the shoulder. You can't map. As I said in the class today, you can't be mind-minded in your profession and go to personal activities, domestic activities, professional activities, social activities, personal activities, community activities. You can't mind your mind. The mind will mind everything. Mind cannot be minded. In that case, you mess up. It is only in yoga you have this condition. Mirror conditions come. So therefore, you have mirrors to get the reflections, and therefore you can have the visions.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye, all of you.
Just